Hey, Steve Alice here. Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, what I want to discuss now is the difference between a musical staff and the notes on the musical staff and the steps and half steps of the the tones of the musical scale. And you can display a scale, obviously, on the musical staff, but there's a difference that I want to emphasize here, which you may have noticed. Anyway, the staff is a series of lines and spaces. So this is the lines. There's 5 lines and 4 spaces. There's also a space above the top line and below the bottom line. So if you look at it like that, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. And the lines, though, are usually or the lines in the using a G clef anyway, which we're going to get into later, are every good boy does fine. E, G, B, D, F. And the spaces are F, A, C, E, face. If you just go from line to space, it's E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. And then it starts over again at F. And you can go below, and if you use this ledger line, we can start at C. So this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And using a ledger lines drawn in, we can go up and down as high or low as we'd like. So the point here that I'm trying to emphasize is that as you go from line to space to line to space, it goes up by 1 letter. So each letter obviously represents a different note. The C scale starting at middle C would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So that's the C scale. But that's not exactly the same as the number of steps in between each note. If we went strictly by looking at the notes, you would think there was an equal amount of space or sound between each note, but it doesn't work that way. Here I've got a sort of a mountain of stairs, basically a stairway, and each of the natural notes of the C scale are marked out on this stairway. And this is different from a regular real stairway in the sense that each of these steps represents a musical half step. So to get from C to D, for example, you need to go up 2 half steps. So C to D, each one of these steps is a musical half step. So each physical step is a musical half step. And most of the natural notes in the C scale have a whole step or 2 half steps between them. So 2 half steps from C to D, 2 half steps from D to E. Also, if we're going from F to G, G to A, and A to B, these are all whole step or 2 half step intervals. The 2 exceptions are E to F. That's only a half step between E to F, and a half step between B and C. The C scale, if we were measuring it in terms of whole and half steps, it would be tonic or root, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And I was thinking it might be sort of like a fun children's game to learn this sequence is when you're going up steps, and you need to be careful if you do this. I don't want anybody falling down and getting hurt or anything, but you can take steps 2 at a time. You can go tonic, 2 steps whole, 2 steps whole, and then 1 step. I wouldn't try this if the steps are very far, if they're big steps. But anyway, some people can go up 2 steps at a time, so you can try that. Go up 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Or you could do like a hopscotch game where you would go 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. This would help to ingrain into your mind the sequence of whole and half steps. So here you have it. You have the difference between the musical staff in which every note, every alternation between line and space represents a different letter name versus our musical stairway, which is divided between whole and half steps. And one last point I want to add is these ones that are in between, these steps, half steps that are in between the whole notes, these are the black keys, represents the black keys on a piano, and the natural notes represent the white keys on a piano. So we're going to just listen up to this one time on the melodica. So I'm starting at C and then C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, white keys. That was a demonstration of what the notes sound like on the melodica. So what you might want to do is just absorb some of this material, be thinking about it, think about the comparison between the musical staff and the musical stairway. And let's go over when you're looking at the staff, from C to D, it's only though it's going from line to space, it's really going, this represents 2 half steps, or a whole step. From D to E, only though it's going from the space to the line, it represents 2 half steps, or whole steps. However, going from this line to this space only represents going a half step because it's going from E to F. Then going from F to G, 2. From G to A represents 2 half steps. From A to B represents 2 half steps. And then from B to C represents 1 half step. So if you just looked at it, you really couldn't tell that just by looking at this because they all look the same interval apart. As far as letter names, they are all 1 letter name apart. But musically, they are, some of them E and F and B to C are a half step apart musically, and the rest are a whole step apart. So try to keep that in mind. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any topics that you would like me to cover in this series of music videos, then please email me at steve@stevemalice.com. If you have any comments or questions, also feel free to email me. I will try to answer as many as I can. Thank you.